Hello everybody, welcome back to my legendary Macedon Let's Play campaign. This is part 12. I'm going to forego the campaign summary again, just going to do those every few videos, but we're here at the beginning of my turn, and I am still at war with Galatia over present-day Turkey, or what is also I think called the Balkan lands, or the Balkan Peninsula. And I am doing troop recruitment with this army by Anthea. Where that army is positioned is basically the border of my military province, so that's as close as I can get them to the current war front and still recruit my better troops. Galatia has an army here in marching stance, so I'm going to do agent actions and try to keep them locked in that stance. I really don't want them to move. I'd like to be able to ambush them if at all possible. And Galatia and Macedon seem to have similar faction colors, and I'm sort of colorblind, so I'm having a hard time distinguishing them on the little mini-map there, but I think Galatia has two settlements left. I think they have Bacinus here, and whatever is south of Pergamon. I think they own that as well.
Let all men fear me.
You can call me Nix.
And we see there that my trade partners are the Seleucids and Athens, my client state. And I also have a non-aggression pact with the Seleucids. So I'm still very light on diplomatic relations in this campaign. And that's because I'm still expanding. I haven't fully decided where I want to go yet in my adventures or on the campaign map. That said, you can see that my treasury, my little bank account there, I got 2,000 and I'm pulling in 2,200 per turn. That's enough to continue recruitment and to financially support my current effort. Now I was just browsing the settlements here, and if I capture Bacinus and whatever south of Pergamon, I think I complete that one. But then there's also two settlements to the east of where the campaign map is now owned by Trapezos. If I capture those, I'll complete another settlement. Now the odds here are very much in my favor, so it looks like I'm going to auto-resolve. And I do. So I've captured Bacinus.
Ready for battle.
You can see that the auto-resolve was more harsh on my cavalry units, so keep that in mind in your own battles, in your own campaigns if you're going to auto-resolve. Another unit type, troop type that auto-resolve is very brutal on is elephants. So don't auto-resolve if you have elephants, because you'll lose most of the unit I have found in my Seleucid campaign. So we have a failed agent action there. They have a small army, a little tiny force, and I'm going to do an agent action because I want to attack it and I don't want it to run away. But would you look at that, 87% chance of success, and he still failed. That happens sometimes. You just have to deal with it. So I decide instead that that army is maybe a bigger threat, so I chase it off.
Ready for orders.
And so now Galatia has basically those three forces. One of them has
We hunger for battle.
a fair amount of troops. I don't think it's a very threatening force. And Galatia also has a couple agents there. And there's also a Pontus fleet sitting off the coast by the settlement of Sinope. I'm still not sure how you say that. And we see there that my forces have all pretty much run out of movement. There's nowhere left for me to move. So now I'm just checking out my settlements a little bit. Do I want to do any building conversions? And chances are no. I have a couple of buildings there I could repair. A little pricey to do so. I need to pick a new technology. And right there, my taxes are on medium. So with medium taxes, I have 2,300 income per turn now. That's after capturing Pessinus. And I am contemplating civil tax at this point, but if I follow my overall gut feeling of just watching this video, I'm still probably going to pick a military tech. There's still not much point in going down the civil side of things, at least in my mind. I'd rather have the next military upgrade that either gets me better troop recruitment options or unlocks buildings, or maybe something that even helps with sieges, because my military power is picking up a little bit, so I'll be doing a few more sieges in coming turns. And I think that was from the siege branch, the tech that I picked. I didn't actually read what it does. You can pause the video and see. So now this army of theirs looks like 2 javelin men or 2 Celtic skirmishers, and probably a noble swordsman or something similar to that, or maybe something similar to Sweby's Woden's spears. And what do I have to defend with? A pretty pathetic garrison of 4 mobs and a slinger. So I had contemplated auto-resolving this when I was looking at it on the map, but then I decided, you know what, I might as well fight it. The CJI is not the greatest, so I might be able to win. And even if I don't win, I might be able to cause a whole bunch of casualties and then be able to just take it back on the next turn. And of course the best case scenario being that somehow I win, and then my army that wasn't here, that I ran off in the other direction, wouldn't have to come back to the settlement to recapture it. It would be free to continue wiping out the Galatian forces. So I put my, looks like slingers on the wall, and then I positioned some of my mobs on the walls also, just in case the AI does actually get to the walls in time and ascend the ladders. But this is still patch 8. This is still not patch 8.1, so this is still the old behavior, although from what I'm reading on the official forums and Reddit and other various sources, is that the AI in 8.1 is still doing a lot of the same things it did in patch 8. I've almost run out of pre-recorded footage to post-process and add audio to, so pretty soon I'll be able to pick the game back up and actually play this campaign instead of just talk about it, and maybe do some live commentary, and maybe we'll see some interesting things in 8.1. I have continued my Seleucid campaign, that's also on Legendary with my mod, since 8.1, but I'm such a powerful force in that game that I don't really have to fight the sieges. I usually just lay siege and wait for them to come out. So the AI has totally bugged out here, so I get the game on max speed, and basically my slingers and arrow towers are going to do most of the work. This is not very exciting. Somehow the enemy general has died, and in even worse fashion than normal, the AI is only throwing torches with like 3 guys of the unit. Okay, now it's throwing it with more of them. And his other missile unit stopped bugging out and at least started throwing things back at me, but most of the projectiles are bouncing off the wall. We can see that my slingers are slowly taking casualties, but they managed to dump out all their ammo and they still have some troops left. So if you are doing a siege defense, definitely put your guys up on the wall, throw some stuff down at them, and move them off the wall when they run out of ammo. So anyways, this is not a shining example of the AI's abilities in terms of siege. I imagine this is what a lot of people talk about when they're really disappointed with it. It's interesting that the AI can't just push itself up those 3 ladders into the settlement. The general unit, Galatian noblemen, should have been enough to kill everything I have by itself. So it finally goes and puts those guys up, and then bugs out with the rest of them. It doesn't really do anything. Now keep in mind they've lost their general, probably to an arrow from the towers, and so destroying that unit that did make it up has now hurt their morale even more. And at this point I decide, you know, screw it, I'll go out there and attack them. And then I ran back in, which seemed to goad a few more men up the ladder. And so now the enemy general climbs up the general unit, not the general. And so now I figure, you know, I'll just retreat further back into the settlement and let the arrow towers cause damage. And somehow I win that battle. So that's why sometimes when you think you might want to auto-resolve something, evaluate the scenario carefully. Maybe you don't want to auto-resolve, maybe you can fight it out yourself and win, or at the very least play in such a manner so as to cause maximum casualties to the AI. So Galatia here is now finishing up its moves, performing some agent actions, and threatening Pergamon there with a single general unit. I imagine that Galatia is having trouble financing its stuff now because it's down to 1 settlement, I think, at this point. And aside from Galatia, I'm also still at war with Chimeria and Rhodos. And here we go, another one of these little event things, and it wants to take half my treasury, and I decide not to, and we see that my family power has dipped down to 49%, but as my military machine ramps up and I have more armies from my family doing the conquering, I should be able to get my family power up, and all that will really do, if I manage to get it higher, is spawn the Civil War far away from my capital, somewhere else in my territory, and that we're far away. I'm far away from that happening in my campaign, so I'm not too worried about it at the moment, which is why I'm kind of letting those negative political actions go through. So I'm going to perform an agent action myself. I think I just recruited that guy the last turn, and wouldn't you know it, my agent is wounded.
You can call me names.
We hunger for battle.
How may I serve you? I do enjoy a little sabotage.
So here, the Galatian army is in the defensive stance,
By my hand.
and this province that I'm in has some sort of horse building that probably grants faster steeds.
We hunger for
So I'm thinking about maybe upgrading my horses while they're there before I move them. And as I said, Pergamon seems to be under threat. So I'm going to go ahead and just raise a single general there to help with the local garrison if Galatia moves forward.
Set up the watch. I am greater than mighty
My
Achilles.
wits and words are yours.
And so I'm going to do assault patrol.
Here is a powerful weapon.
And I'm just not having a lot of luck with these
I have failed the gods.
agent actions. Most of them are failing. So I'll go ahead and try again with that guy.
I'll make them doubt their leader.
And successful.
Your will.
And so I've used up all the movement points of my agent actions.
My mind soars higher than Olympus.
And we see there that my spy has gained a trait that makes poison provisions even more effective.
My wits and words
The
are
one thing to note about the agents in this game is the more you perform actions with them, the more likely they are to gain traits that are inherent to them that make them even better at those
Ready for
actions.
battle.
So
For the
really kind of focus your actions with a specific agent to a specific action, and they'll just get better and better at it over time. So here I am thinking, okay, this guy is going to be ambushed. I can auto-resolve this. And this is one case where I should not have used auto-resolve because I don't know what the heck the AI really thought that battle should have played out like, but he kept almost all of his units.
At your command.
So now I have to go chase him and fight it a second time.
Destroy them!
And so now we see here, since I'm fighting in an area that's on the campaign map that doesn't have roads, that the battle doesn't have roads and it's not flat. This is more varied battle map. You get these the farther away from towns that you choose to fight your battles. The Rome 2 battles are oftentimes kind of uninteresting because the terrain itself is uninteresting.
General!
So there we see them
Macedon!
on the left on that hill. They're moving down towards me. And so I change my movement direction to go face off with them.
Did you hear about this?
In service of the people!
So now I'm going to position my cavalry, it looks like, into a flanking maneuver. He has 2 cavalry units himself trying to flank me.
Forward! Ready!
And here come his, and I'm coming to counter, sending my cavalry at his one-on-one. I'm turning skirmishing mode off of my slingers and javelin men because I just want them to fire. And look at that, he flanked on that side too. So now I'm taking melee units that were from my second line of infantry and also my cavalry because they made quick work of his. I'm sending them now to deal with those other cavalry troops that flanked me.
Yours to command!
Yes, Commander!
Advance at speed! Slingers! Take aim! Fire on the enemy! Sons of
And the battle is now strongly in my favor. He's got just a few missile units left on the field, and as I approach them, they'll probably turn tail and flee. Actually, no, he has his general unit. He's held his general back
Slingers!
in reserve, or maybe he just didn't know what to do with them. Hard to say. Now this is in my opinion, the last battle I fought was at that siege defense, where the AI bugged out and did really bad. And then we have an open field battle here where the AA, in my opinion, did a little bit better. It flanked me with cavalry on both sides. It held its general in reserve, maybe for troop support, morale support, I don't know. Now I ran my cavalry into the general, but because it's a general, he didn't break and run immediately, so I pull my cavalry out, and right as my melee infantry start to catch up and close the gap, now he engages my melee infantry, and so I'm going to take my cavalry and I'm going to charge him again in the rear and flank. So again, I've read so many complaints on forums where you can't disengage your cavalry, and I don't really seem to have too much of an issue with it most of the time. Every once in a while we'll kind of get stuck in there because of one guy on a horse doesn't want to leave the fight, and so the whole unit kind of gets stuck. But then usually that guy dies, and then the cavalry will respond. So I guess as far as what you expect and what you get out of this game, your mileage may vary.
Advance! We hunger for battle. I don't care how tired you are.
So now I'm able to move my forces around a little bit. My stronger army gets positioned in Pergamon. My individual general goes back to Nicomedia. I decide to upgrade my cavalry after all, and auto-resolve this battle, I think. Yeah. And so all that's left of the Galatian Empire is Ephesus. Not sure how you pronounce that settlement of theirs. It's a coastal provincial capital. They have a fleet there, and they have an individual general unit by himself on the campaign map. I think that's all they have left in the game. So Galatia is all but destroyed, and we see on the campaign map there's that Pergamon fleet still in between Egypt and the Seleucids.
I am honored to greet.
So it turns out that my delay in entering into diplomatic relationships worked out for the better. If you remember, when I first conquered Nicomedia, Galatia, a couple turns in a row, wanted trade agreements with me, and I kept declining because I wanted to scout out their lands, and also because of cultural differences. I didn't want to be too friendly with them if they're surrounded by Hellenistic cultures that are likely to declare war on them. And that turned out to be a good choice. Within a few turns after that, I've pretty much taken everything they have, and instead of just being friends with them, I get all their stuff. That's pretty good too. So we see Chimeria has some stuff up there in the probably top right from where we are at this particular moment. And Pergamon still has an agent or two running around the map. As soon as Pergamon's one fleet is destroyed, those agents will go away. But I'm just going to have to deal with them for now. And just like I said before, those slums that I destroyed, I forgot, and now they're back, so I'm going to destroy them again. And then I think the next time around, at the end of this turn, beginning of the next turn, I'll finally put a building in there.
Commander.
You see that my income has gone down. Just a little short while ago, it was 2,300, and now it's only 14. So I'm guessing something's been sabotaged or destroyed. Pergamon, faction destroyed. Finally, they took that fleet and attacked something with it and died. And I think there go their agents with them. We have some flooding. Game loves to do that. There's a couple broken buildings. So I'm going to scout Ephesus. That's maybe how you say it, with my agents. Got a fair amount of agents running around now. And we see that he really doesn't have much.
Ready for battle.
And I can get that army right to the edge. And I think this one, he's in the marching stance right now, but if I take him out of that stance, I think he can make it all the way there and lay siege.
You can call me.
And there's the one Galatian fleet that's left.
We take this.
So I could auto-resolve, or I could wait 2 turns. And looks like I decide auto-resolve. Let's just get this guy off the map. Tired of dealing with him. And there we go. And
Ready for orders.
get to put a... I'm rank 7, so my mod gives me 2 skill points. So this guy is... I've gone down the Zeal path with him because it gives pretty good combat bonuses. Authority gives a few combat bonuses too, but at the higher ranks of the majority of the leaf nodes in that tree, you get mostly plus rank on recruitment. And so if you want to make a recruitment general that will be very powerful, then authority is pretty good. And in my Seleucid campaign, I have 1 or 2 generals that grant +2 or +3 ranks to infantry when recruited. And then in the military province where I do my recruitment, I've got +1 rank recruitment for some units from a building. And then I have an army that has one of the legacies that grants like +3 rank on the troop recruitment as well. So I can right off the bat recruit units that are ranked like 5 through 7 depending on the unit in my Seleucid campaign, and that's very powerful. So it's not necessary to win, but it's a little extra level of micromanagement that you can perform if you want to. And we see here I finally captured a world wonder. Some of the settlements have world wonders, so that gives me +2 to my tax rate faction wide. Of course, that settlement's pissed off, so it has a lower effective tax rate anyways. So I'm deciding I could really use some extra money. If I go taxes highest, I get 3,100. And it looks like I'm going to do that for a turn. You look at my settlement province summary there, everybody's mad and all the public orders getting worse. Nobody's happy and nothing is improving in that regard. That is typically the scenario early in my campaigns, but I don't have slave rebellions popping up left and right that are slowing down my progress. If you manage it carefully, you can keep everybody pretty pissed, but still do alright. And we're getting close to the end of the video here, so I think as soon as these AI turns cycle through, that's going to be it. One of my generals has died, looks like from natural causes, so I have to pick a new one. I always try to pick from my own family, and I always try to pick a brand new guy, not a statesman. And that's it for the video. I'll see you on the next one.